They told themselves they were done with it. They made a decision, a real, firm, deliberate decision to stop, to redirect their attention, to think about literally anything else. They had reasons. Maybe the timing felt off. Maybe the uncertainty was becoming uncomfortable. Maybe they just got tired of carrying a feeling that had nowhere to go yet. Whatever the reason, they made the call. They were going to stop thinking about you, and then approximately 4 minutes later, there you were again, right back in the middle of every quiet moment they tried to fill with something else. This is not obsession. I want to be clear about that before we go any deeper. What is coming through in these cards is not the anxious, intrusive kind of thinking that drains a person. It is the other kind, the warm kind, the kind where someone appears in your thoughts and instead of pushing the thought away, you find yourself pausing and almost smiling before you even realize you are doing it. That is what is happening with this person. You have become a place their mind goes when it is allowed to go somewhere good. What's up, guys? Welcome to Moonlit Arcana. My name is, and today the cards are speaking to someone who tried to clear you from their thoughts and completely failed, and why that failure is one of the better things currently happening in your energy. Let's go deeper. The first card that landed when I opened this reading was the Star, and I sat with it for a moment because the Star in this position is saying something very specific. It is the card of something that keeps shining, even when you would rather it didn't, even when you look away, even when you try to focus on the practical, the logical, the things that require your attention right now. The Star just keeps being there, quiet and persistent and illuminated. That is what you are for this person. Not a distraction. A light they keep finding themselves oriented toward without meaning to. The reason they tried to stop is important, and the cards are not hiding it. The Seven of Cups reversed is here, and what it tells me is that this person reached a point where the feeling was becoming so large inside of them that it started to feel like too much information to hold. When you care about someone and you are not yet in a place to do anything with that caring, there is a specific kind of discomfort that sets in. Not doubt about the feeling, doubt about what to do with it. They were not trying to stop because the feeling was wrong. They were trying to stop because the feeling was real, and real feelings require something of you, and they were not sure they were ready to be required of yet. The Eight of Swords is appearing alongside that, and it shows me a person who had, for a moment, talked themselves into a corner of their own making. They constructed a very logical argument for why it would be better, cleaner, safer, more sensible to just let it go and move on. They told themselves the timing was not right. They told themselves there were other priorities. They told themselves that people who are serious about their lives do not spend this much mental energy on someone they have not even fully stepped toward yet. They built a convincing case. They almost believed it. And then something happened. A memory, a song, a moment of stillness in an otherwise busy day. And the whole carefully constructed argument just dissolved. The Lover's card is now coming in, and I want to talk about what this card actually means in the context of someone trying and failing to stop thinking about you. The Lovers is not simply a romance card. At its deepest level, it is about genuine alignment, the experience of encountering something that resonates with who you actually are rather than who you have been performing as. What this card is telling me is that when this person thinks about you, They are not just thinking about attraction, they are thinking about fit, about the specific quality of being around you or imagining being around you that makes them feel more like themselves rather than less. That is not something you can logic your way out of. That is not something a firm decision can override. When something aligns with you at that level, it keeps calling. The Four of Wands is following the Lovers, and this is where the energy starts to shift from the internal struggle into something that feels more like acceptance. The Four of Wands is celebration, groundedness, the feeling of arriving somewhere that was worth the journey. And what I am reading in this card is that this person has begun to stop fighting the feeling and start sitting inside it with something closer to gratitude. They tried to let it go and they could not. And somewhere in the process of failing at that, they realized that the failure was actually telling them something, that this is not a feeling to be managed away. This is a feeling to be honored. The Knight of Pentacles is here now, and this is significant because it is the slowest, most deliberate of the knights. This person is not impulsive. They do not act until they are sure. They do not say things they have not fully meant, and they do not offer themselves to situations they have not carefully assessed. What the Knight of Pentacles tells me about them is that the fact that you keep appearing in their thoughts, despite their best efforts to clear the space, is actually functioning as evidence for them. Evidence that this is real. Evidence that it is not going away. Evidence that the careful, methodical part of them, the part that runs every decision through a filter of, is this actually worth it, has quietly concluded that yes, in this case, it is. The Three of Cups is appearing now, and what this card brings is a quality of joy, uncomplicated, genuine joy, connected to the thought of you. When this person lets themselves stop fighting the feeling and just feels it, what is there is not anxiety or longing in a painful sense. What is there is warmth, a kind of brightness. The thought of you makes them happy in a way that is not dependent on any outcome. Not because everything is resolved or because they know how the story ends, but simply because you exist in their world, and that fact alone is to them a good thing. That is the part of this reading that I want you to receive clearly. The thinking about you that is happening is not tainted by frustration or desperation. It is genuinely, quietly joyful. The Page of Cups is next, and this card always carries a quality of something tender being carefully held. The Page of Cups is someone who is new to a feeling, not inexperienced in life, but encountering this particular quality of feeling for the first time, or for the first time in a very long time. What is coming through here is that this person is discovering through you that they are still capable of this, still capable of caring about someone at this level, still capable of having a person occupy their thoughts in a way that feels alive and warm rather than heavy and obligatory. There may have been a period in their life where they genuinely did not think that was still available to them, and you have shown them without even trying that it is. The Sun card is at the back of this reading, and I want you to understand how significant that placement is. The Sun does not show up to describe confusion or conflict or things that might not work out. The Sun shows up when the underlying energy of a situation is genuinely good, when something is moving toward light rather than away from it. The reason this person cannot stop thinking about you is not a problem to be solved. It is a signal. It is their own interior knowing. Bypassing every logical override they attempted to install, and pointing directly at something real. The sun is confirming that the signal is accurate. What I want you to take from this reading is a very simple thing. Somewhere right now, there is a person who sat down at some point and made a genuine effort to clear you from their mind. They probably had what felt like good reasons. And they tried, and they could not do it. And the reason they could not do it is the same reason the star keeps shining and the sun keeps rising. Not because anyone decided it should, but because that is simply what it does. You are that for this person, not a problem they are trying to manage. A light they keep finding themselves facing. That is your reading for today. If this resonated, drop a comment and let me know. I genuinely read every single one. Subscribe to Moonlit Arcana so you never miss a reading, and take good care of yourselves until next time.